All right, welcome to the Explainer. If you are a leader who's trying to figure out how to maximize your team's performance, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to unpack how you can optimize your workforce, streamline those day-to-day operations, and most importantly, drive massive revenue by leveraging Enablement Dojo's core strategies.
So let's just jump right in and look at Enablement Dojo's core philosophy. Really, their whole approach centers on three incredibly powerful integrated ideas: empowering leaders, elevating teams, and enabling success. And the key here is that they operate as a dedicated partner. We're not talking about just another vendor you hire for a one-off project. They are actually committing to sustainable performance across your entire business ecosystem. But, before we get totally bogged down in the tactical execution, we have to take a step back and ask a pretty critical question. In a market that is moving this fast and is this competitive, how do you actually build a team that consistently wins? How do you avoid that incredibly costly trap of high turnover and make sure your team is executing flawlessly, day in and day out? To answer that, this explainer is going to follow a really clear roadmap. We're looking at three core pillars today: strategic event management, high-impact leadership development, and transforming your sales process, before wrapping up with a unified dashboard of the actual measurable ROI.
Okay, pillar number 1, strategic event management, moving beyond logistics to strategic alignment.
Look, true event management is definitely not just about outsourcing the headaches of venue logistics or figuring out the catering. It's really about comprehensive end-to-end support. Enablement Dojo takes you from that very first strategic consultation, making sure everything strictly aligns with your overarching business goals, right through to crafting the agenda, managing the on-site chaos, and delivering a deep ROI analysis at the end. It essentially means you get to focus on actually building relationships rather than running around putting out literal or metaphorical fires. We have all been there, right? You go to one of those flashy corporate events that looks absolutely incredible, but when it's over, it achieved absolutely nothing for the bottom line. It's a vital point to remember. An event without strategic grounding risks becoming just a really costly production with zero impact. Every single detail literally has to be anchored to a clear business objective. And the data definitely backs this up. 91%. That's the number of event organizers who opt for full-service management and actually report higher attendee satisfaction, along with a genuinely increased return on investment. When you optimize the budget and engineer that kind of efficiency, the results really just speak for themselves.
All right, moving to our second core pillar: high-impact leadership development, cultivating the leaders of tomorrow.
You know the old saying, great leaders are made, not born? Well, Enablement Dojo basically takes that as their blueprint. They cultivate successful leaders through a really structured life cycle. It kicks off on day one with custom onboarding just to accelerate that initial transition. Then it moves into a highly scalable, 2-day foundational workshop called Built to Lead. And it ultimately wraps up with continuous, one-on-one, personalized coaching to really sharpen their unique leadership style. But hey, it doesn't stop at just individual development. They also run these leadership summits, which take your executives and unite them in this highly curated, super energizing environment. Your leaders get to engage with industry experts, tackle real-world business challenges together, and drive actual executive alignment. And crucially, the whole thing is supported by actionable post-event resources, so that incredible momentum doesn't just fizzle out when everyone goes back to the office.
So, what is the payoff for all this? Well, 86% of companies report a massive, positive ROI from leadership coaching alone. We are talking stark, incredibly measurable improvements in leadership effectiveness and, by extension, overall team performance. Let's shift gears to our third pillar: transforming your sales process. It's all about training smarter to sell better.
Let's be real for a second. We all know that generic, one-size-fits-all training simply doesn't work. It puts reps to sleep and completely ignores the actual realities of your specific market. Enablement Dojo makes a critical distinction here. The focus has to be on prescriptive, custom sales training. You have to meet your team exactly where they are right now, address their highly specific challenges, and align the training directly with your revenue goals.
So how do you actually make that happen? By implementing rigorous structure. That means deploying proven methodologies. We're talking MDPIC, value selling, or the Challenger framework. You combine that with fully customized playbooks and a complete top-to-bottom audit of your sales tech stack. When you streamline those tools and align them with a crystal-clear process, you instantly remove bottlenecks. And what did that do? It gives valuable selling time right back to your reps. And if you're wondering if structure actually wins out, the data says yes, absolutely. Teams using a defined sales methodology experience a 25% higher win rate compared to the teams that are just out there winging it. Think about that, 25% more wins, literally just by giving your team a standardized playbook to run.
Finally, let's talk about what this all means for your bottom line in our last section, driving measurable business results, the unified ROI. When you aggregate all these diverse metrics we've been talking about, the holistic impact is pretty undeniable. Just look at this. Through structured onboarding and leadership, you see 54% greater new hire productivity. By using professional budgeting and event management, those nasty unexpected expenses drop by up to 20%. And with custom sales training, you secure 20% increase in overall sales effectiveness. That is massive, highly measurable return on investment.
When you step back and look at the whole shebang, this entire explainer really boils down to Enablement Dojo's core mantra. They aren't throwing piecemeal solutions at you, they're offering a dedicated, long-term partnership entirely committed to your organization's sustainable performance. That's everything from the events you host to the leaders you cultivate, all the way down to the deals your team closes.
The strategies, the methodologies, the cold, hard data, it is all clearly mapped out for you right here. So, honestly, the question isn't whether these enablement strategies work. The real question you have to ask yourself and your leadership team is, what is it costing your organization every single day that you don't have them in place?